What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero Build, going over what I think they do well, what they could do differently, and just the state of the game right now. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below what you think of Fortnite re-adding the Shockwave Hammer, because that did randomly happen on Tuesday evening. So we do have the Shockwave launcher back in, or not, sorry, Shockwave launcher, Shockwave Hammer back in the loot pool from Chapter 4 Season 1. I really like it. The games have been really fast-paced again ever since it was added, and it's been a lot of fun. I am recording this on Wednesday afternoon. I'll get to why probably later on in the video if we have any sort of downtime. Probably just gonna be going Demon Debris this game because the boss is there and it's relatively early in the bus path. Another thing that happened Tuesday evening is that they reduced the amount of bugs in each of these POIs. So now there's less bugs that spawn from the spawners, and there's also like the interval at which they spawn was the amount of time it takes was increased. So like there's less spawn bugs and they're spawning less frequently. So there's significantly less bugs at these POIs. And I think they also decrease the health of each of them. Kill me. Kill me. Thank you. This Batman is real. The axolotl is fake. That's why I wanted the Batman to eliminate me. After I realized that axolotl was not real. He's got 2 kills already. He can get his B crate, which will give him crash pads, and there's also more crash pads in front of him. So he could have like basically a full stack, or I think he could literally have a full stack of crash pads right now, which would be great. Let me running at him. He's just gonna play right shoulder peek here. This is an AI that's running at him. It doesn't just kill them, please. Thank you. That does not make me confident for this player's chances for the rest of the game. But yeah, the B crates always give you crash pads and the A crates always give you shockwaves. And he's dead to this player. That's just, you see the pace at which this enemy played and how much more pressure they put that Batman under than the Batman was putting anybody else under when they fought. Like, that's one of those things that you could just immediately tell when I was initially spectating that Batman, that his pacing was just too slow. And that's something that'll really cost you in fights. If you're kind of indecisive about peeking into an AI, like fighting a real player is not going to go well, you know? But this player should now probably have dibs on the rest of this POI. They already have a Shockwave Hammer as well, which is great. One of the really nice things about this being back in the loot pool is that like it's mobility that you just get and then you have getting shot in the back. I think he could still kill this person and then turn and fight the other one as well if he wanted. But he's playing this kind of slow. Trying to get opening tags here. He gets a lot of damage. I would want to push this because he knows he already got shot in the back. So he's on somewhat of a timer, I would say, before he gets third-partied. So I would want to kill this enemy here prior to getting third-partied, rather than having, you know, 2 people next to you on 2 opposite ends. And he does get that kill. I probably would have invested a crash pad just to like get it ASAP, but yeah. The person that was behind him might not start pushing, but they were far enough away to where I think he had enough time to eliminate that other player and have an isolated fight. And here's the third party. And probably dead here. It's just a struggle of a fight. Okay, he gets a kill. That was just such a weird timing fight. But that kind of goes to show what I was saying. If he was a little bit faster about eliminating the player prior to this, then he would have gotten to here at like better timing for that fight to take place. So even though like it didn't result in the enemy jumping on him, the fact that he took a little bit longer for that fight, it still like I think made the timing for the next fight kind of awkward. They both just like got here at the same time and then had like a just random shotgun fight out in the open. One thing he could have done during that fight was to try to like sprint jump over the player that was shotgunning him with the sweeper to try to like land behind them and break their camera. And I think he was close enough at one point to just like do a quick sprint jump slide and end up behind them, but they just fight out in the open. The precision SMG is not great for fighting the boss, but the player he killed in front of him and to his left, they had a bug blaster, and the bug blaster works incredible for eliminating the boss, so I personally would want to be doing that. And he is going to get A tier off this, which will allow him to open the exotic weapon bunkers and get even more loot. He's not really desperate for loot. The main thing that I would be desperate for usually with getting those with mobility, but with the Shockwave Hammer in the game, as I said, like once you find it, you got it. And so there's not as much desperation for mobility, I feel like, with the addition of the Shockwave Hammer. And the spawn rate of it seems like very generous to the point where like you're rarely desperately looking for it, I think. At least that was my experience. And you can actually carry multiple in your inventory, and they have separate cooldowns and separate charges. I personally like to carry the shockwave hammer in a different mobility item. That way, if I'm fighting somebody using the shockwave hammer, like if I have hammer and shockwaves, the shockwave grenades themselves are actually like a better form of mobility. Like you go further with it, and I feel like you go further faster than with the hammer. And so if you need to like outrun somebody using the hammer or chase somebody using the hammer, having the shockwave grenades really helps with that. So I've been enjoying using double mobility since the hammer was added. Weapon bunker is near him, but he's gonna focus on this fight. That Power Ranger is fighting an AI. Let's see if they panic and get in the roly-poly. They didn't. A lot of times what people will do when you shoot them around their roly-poly is they'll just like panic, get in it, like with cars. And that really does not work well with the roly-poly because you just get immediately disabled. I think now he's just gonna let that kill go and go for the bunker. Unfortunately, his timing was kind of bad there. Like, with him landing. If he landed before the Power Ranger got the kill, I think he maybe would have had more time to shoot at them. I do not like this. This scares me. It's like being in this corner like that. Okay, thank you. Fighting going on at the where the black market used to be. I would rather just worry about getting the loot in this bunker though. It's the exotic Wrecker revolver, which is very good. It has a better hipfire fire rate and a higher headshot multiplier. Between this and the mythic, I think it's really just preference. The base damage on the exotic is lower, so it's a bit weaker. But the faster fire rate, I think, can definitely make up for that, and the higher headshot multiplier. The exotic revolver actually has a higher max damage than the mythic, but you need to hit like a perfect headshot for that, which is often not happening. I am very surprised he's getting this airstrike. I think he's just going to waste it, which I'm never someone to really care about this. We'll see if it costs him. This is an AI he's fighting here. But like just wasting things for the sake of wasting them, I feel like is rarely worth your time. I think the airstrike is a very irrelevant item, especially with the addition of the shockwave hammer, because just like one hammer use, you'll be like out of the airstrike probably. And it's not like one hammer use is something you really have to think about whether or not it's worth investing, because like recharges over time. But I really couldn't think less of the airstrike. It would be useful in a situation like this where like this is GG's, I think, for him. Yeah, the hammer melee is not that good. So the airstrike could have been good in a situation like that where he knows this person is playing right shoulder peak. But you kind of see what I touched on just immediately coming into effect, where like he wasted that airstrike for no reason. And then he kind of gets a weird timing fight where this Power Ranger has right shoulder peak on him. And then it just doesn't go his way, unfortunately. But if he didn't worry about wasting the airstrike and just took his character and went elsewhere, he wouldn't have been having that fight in this bunker. And this is just preference, but I hate fighting in these bunkers. I feel like it's often just not an enjoyable fight. And so I want to get in and get out as fast as possible. I think just existing in these bunkers negatively impacts your chances of doing well more than leaving that airstrike there would. Now this Power Ranger is in the same boat that they were previously dealing with, where like the enemy has right shoulder peak on them. What would have been nice for him to do is make this fight happen while his slurp was still ticking. Because there was a point in time where he got to full HP and his slurp juice was still taking effect. If he was able to have the fight happen during that, then that would have been nice, because he's just regenerating HP over the course of the fight. Like the legendary slurps, if you have extra, or like you know an important fight is about to take place and you're able to pop it during the fight, that way your health is just constantly ticking up over the course of the fight. It is a huge advantage. And that's just back-to-back players we see lose fights around the bunkers. I think that Power Ranger definitely could have won the fight that they were just in. Like it could have went either way. But the person playing outside with right shoulder peak just has a pretty big advantage, I think. Like right shoulder peak is just really OP in this game. Which goes back to the previous mistake I was talking about, just like caring to waste the airstrike. I think he's going to use the fizz and then take the big pods. Or maybe not. What the heck just happened? Bro, he got scammed. There typically is roly-polies at the front of Dystopia City to his right. You can take an additional hammer here and a double hammer. But he also doesn't really need to worry that much about the roly-polies, I guess, because he does have the hammers. Okay, so this seems like a point in time where we're going to be in somewhat of a downtime for the match. So the reason why I'm pre-recording this and uploading it on Friday is because I'm actually doing a long marathon stream on Friday. And I should be live right now on Twitch. Like, this is going to be schedule uploaded. But we are doing an unranked to Unreal charity stream for Adaptive Gaming, which is a charity that helps out gamers that, you know, have disabilities to be able to play games through other means. But like I said, this is a marathon charity stream where we are going from unranked to Unreal and zero build. And I'm going to be playing with my teammates Cosmic, Fluger, and Camnuts. And we're all grinding to get Unreal on brand new accounts. So as I said, I should be live now as you're watching this. My Twitch is just Evolve Jake, like all my other social medias, but it will also be linked down in the description below if that is something that you are interested in. And depending on how the stream goes, I may end up making like a long form kind of unranked to Unreal speedrun style video out of the stream, if I think, you know, after the fact that the video is coming together well or goes well. An enemy down here. I don't know how much he cares about that though. This gas station is always like the hottest place on the map. And so if you really want to get kills, that's the place to be. If you just want to win, sometimes avoiding that is probably your best bet. And the player we're currently watching, I believe, has very good loot. I believe they have the Mythic OXR and the Exotic Revolver. Their heals might be kind of lacking. I didn't see if they were able to get new heals out. And one of the things that's interesting about this helicopter, it has a stall effect. If you go to the passenger seat, you'll stall out the helicopter and it'll just hover for you. But doing damage from that range is kind of scuffed. This player does have to be careful here, though. As I said, this is a really hot area. Like, he's not at the gas station, but he's really close to it. And so overly fixating on this person here can definitely get him killed. I don't know what happened to that roly-poly, but you are somewhat of a sitting target up on those pillars. Like, those pillars are a good, like, kind of surprise spot, but oftentimes they do leave you very vulnerable. And there's the free kill off the Exotic Revolver's boosted fire rate. It just pressures the damage he got, and then the enemy can't play the game. Unfortunately for him, though, that enemy did not have extra heals. One thing about the Shockwave Hammer that is interesting that you just saw there is that when you drop it for another one, you'll usually get it at full charge. Especially if you just killed the person, I think there's always drop at full charge. So you can like quickly swap hammers in a pinch to leave if you just like used all your hammer usage to push somebody. That enemy gets away, unfortunately. I don't think chasing this is good. I don't think he got that much damage, and his revolver isn't loaded. So he's using double all two of his hammer uses here just to chase this kill. Never mind, he has 2 hammer uses remaining. But he's like over chasing that kill on somebody he doesn't have very much damage for, and his gun isn't loaded. Like, that's just like, there's a lot of potential there for like things to go badly. And it's not going to matter, but it could. Like, a lot of times in BR, just minimizing like the bad situations like that you put yourself in is good. I probably will make an entire video about chasing this season. I have in the past, but this is a season where chasing will happen a lot just with the way the mobility items play. And one of the main things that I really worry about when it comes to chasing an enemy player is like how healthy they are, how much I think they matter, and like how likely it is a situation was to be turned on me. So like it kind of seemed like that toy soldier he was fighting wasn't the greatest. He didn't get that much damage, and since he had shot out all his pistol shots, like the potential for the fight to get turned is decently high. Like the toy soldier, if they didn't just sit in that bush and like kind of take death, if they'd looked to like turn the fight on him while he's reloading the revolver, or fought him initially when he jumped on her before he reloaded, then like things could have gone really south. Also could have reloaded the revolver as he was pushing them, and maybe that would have made things better. No, this is sketchy. Can't really see what's going on from Spectator. The enemy is on the right side here. You can actually just shoot the person that's hanging up on the side. Not really gonna matter either way. Like, I don't think this person is just gonna get 250 to 0'd, but yeah. There should be a flare gun on this. Oh no, never mind, this was the ref drop. But the S tier pods usually come with a flare gun. And so a lot of times I'll get my S tier thing and then just kind of get the flare gun and shoot a few shots to see what's around me, if I do end up getting it. But that would have been nice here if that was a S tier drop, because then he could like kind of scan this outpost and see where the enemies are inside. Probably not very many other enemies in the outpost though, because he just killed an AI there. And so if there was any real players in that outpost, I don't think that AI would have just been chilling like that. So I think the only other real player in this immediate area was the person that just left on the helicopter. There are 4 players remaining. I don't think he's like locked in right now. He's like tapped out or something. I do not know what's going on. This reminds me of the last spectating video I made. I think the person went like AFK in the bush for a second. Don't really know what he wants here. I feel like he has all the loot he needs. Like, he can maybe get like a fizz or something for heals instead, but I think the big pots are also fine. He's just gonna leave. The shops do always sell some form of mobility, so if he didn't want to have double hammer, he could have bought some crash pads or shockwaves there, depending on what the shop had. But it's not like the biggest deal either way. Like, having double hammer is also fine. Zone is going up north there, so maybe that's why he was just like chilling, like deciding if he wanted to chill. I don't know. I didn't look at the map. Close to S tier. And as I said, the S tier pod gives a flare gun, so he can maybe get S tier and then find somebody in this area with it. If these purple pods give him S. Surprised he's still only at A. He's he has like 11 kills, but I guess he didn't really get many objectives before that. He didn't open that bunker he was at. He didn't kill the queen over there. Pretty much all of his points are just from kills, I guess. Whereas for me, a lot of times when I have this many kills, I'm already like well into S because I often do get the queen and I do get the bunker, which is a good amount of points. The helicopter is like, yeah, the helicopter is more in the direction he's looking. I don't think it's flying very high. Rep men. The wall running is so awkward sometimes. You get shots on it here. There's basically, like, that's not really going to kill it. But, like, you just get it closer to death. And then, like, maybe later on you could do something about it. Like, a lot of times these people in the helicopters are just, like, kind of, I don't know, like, stalling out. Like, you have to do the 1600 damage or whatever it is to the helicopter to, like, get them to fight. One AI just died to fall damage, so there's 3 players remaining. We know at least one is real because they're in that helicopter. But the other 2, we don't really know. And it really wouldn't surprise me if they were AI because of how, you know, Fortnite endgames often play out. Yeah, I think that player went to, like, the extreme edge of circle on that temple with their helicopter. Like, they're just playing, like, extreme edge with the heli. Probably what happened as well when they were at this outpost. Because they went, after when they left, they just went to the other side of zone to chill. So I would be like most fixated on just killing that helicopter right now. As I said, that they're not going to do anything. The different person just shockwaved away. There's also a roly-poly sitting next to a bush there. And I'm not sure. Is this bush here? I think. Maybe the bush got destroyed by the rocket. I don't know. I thought I saw a roly-poly sitting next to a bush, and I'm not sure if that's where it spawns. And what I was going to say is, if it's not, I would suspect there's maybe somebody in the bush if there's just like a roly-poly or a car chilling next to it like that. I guess is what I was trying to say. So I think we have 2 players remaining now, and both are real. Because we had the one person that shockwaved away like this, and then we have the helicopter. I don't really like the hammer smash as like a engage, because you just send the enemy away from you like that. Oh no. You try to be greedy with his shockwave hammer uses, and he doesn't need to be because he has 2. But just like meleeing somebody with the hammer, you send them away. And the animation for it is quite long, so you do leave yourself like exposed and vulnerable if you happen to miss or whatever. And so I personally, I use the shockwave hammer for mobility, and I never use the melee aspect. I like how he kind of got away from this. I don't know what happened to the Chun-Li though. But if they're both just sitting there and shooting the helicopter, it's good that it's gonna like blow up fast, but you don't want to be the one that like is too focused on the helicopter and then the other enemy like takes you out because of it or gets timing on you because of it. So I like kind of leaving that heli. Or like kind of repositioning from that situation. There's one person behind that tree, and I think it was the Chun-Li. I think the helicopter player hadn't been able to land yet. Yeah, the Chun-Li is fighting the AI. He could push here. They're going to have reloaded a few shots, so if they push like a bit earlier. Hammer again, hammer again. He's trying to rocket you. I don't know why he's so fixated on using the melee here. Like, I feel like it's just making his life harder. Because what he's going to do is just send them away, and then, like, the fight is reset. Like, he's not... He's pushing them to send them away from him. So it doesn't really make any sense. Unless there's, like, a huge, like, position of advantage you wanted, like a mountain or something. But this is an out in the open fight, you know? By him pushing the Chun-Li, you think he wants to fight? They're repositioning. We know that Chun-Li really wants to just shock rocket him, though. That is their main goal in life. And so the fact that he knows that, I feel like it is somewhat easy to play against once you're ready for it. And he should always have Shockwave Hammer uses ready to go. One way he could get caught with the rocket play is if he goes for the ground pound and that Chun-Li has like Fizz active and just jumps and shoots the rockets, then this player could just get fried by the rockets when they go for the ground pound. Like, I really don't think it's worth. Get the flares off. This is good. The flares I talked about. This pod doesn't have very much HP, though. It'll break soon. Now they're fighting. This could be an opportunity for him to maybe capitalize in third party. He's going to keep the flare gun. I kind of don't like that. I like kind of like recycling it, like just picking up and using it, but carrying it isn't really something I'm too like eager to do, especially with how eager that Chun-Li is to just use the rockets. Like her entire existence just seems rockets, and so I want to have as much mobility as possible. Every time he like makes her waste a shockwave, though, that's good because that like reduces her chances of being able to do that. This could be the game here. So this exotic Wrecker Revolver has a faster fire rate exclusively when you hip fire. When you ADS, it has a regular fire rate. I feel like using the AR there actually would have been better. Because it does have lower base damage. So, like, I don't want to be using it for a situation like that. Like, it's more of, like, a close range. And, like, yeah, that... He gets the win, but I feel like that ending was as random as possible. I think if they just used their AR while they were in the tree, the Chun-Li can't play the game. But, yeah, that got close. The Wrecker Revolver is very good, but I feel like that's kind of not the ideal situation for the exotic one. Like, ADSing mid-range, unless you're hitting perfect headshots, you're better off with one of the other versions of the Wrecker Revolver. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.